Well, welcome to another Friday night. We're looking at the topic of fawning, the fourth of the four F's of surviving trauma. So fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And we're looking at it because to me it's the most common response that people have to trauma, complex trauma, but most people don't even realize they do it. It's the least recognized, understood. And so we're just doing a deep dive into understanding what fawning is. And it's a child that they're too little to fight or flight, and they can freeze, but they still need their needs met. And so they have to get the people who are abusing them or neglecting them to want to keep them safe, to want to meet the needs. So they got to earn love. They got to earn validation. They got to stay safe. So it's the ultimate survival within complex trauma for a child. It's very sophisticated, but it then goes into adult life. And for people who are adults who could be in a safe environment, they still fawn, not now as survival, but because of shame. They don't feel that they can be authentic and be accepted and people will connect. They still believe they're not good enough, that they have to earn love and earn their needs being met in relationships. And so we've been looking at the characteristics of a fawner. We've looked at 6 so far. I want to finish it today with the final 3. So the first one is anxiety. And what we're looking at is the internal world of a fawner, because the external world of a fawner looks very put together, very successful, very happy. Doesn't look like they have any shame, they have any issues. They look like everybody likes them, that they are totally content, totally happy. But what's their internal world? And so number 7 is anxiety. The internal world of a fawner is full of anxiety, but most do not even recognize it. And I'll explain that in a minute. But let me give this as a background. So what happened as a child was, a child comes into the world committed to be authentic, but then they were rejected for being authentic. Nobody wanted to connect with them. And so all of a sudden it was, every relationship, does this person like me? Did I do too much? Did I do enough? Did I overdo it? Am I too much? Are they mad at me? Are they losing interest in me? What would they think of me if they discovered this fact about me? Do they think maybe I'm ugly? Do they think I'm unkind? Do they think I overreact? Do they think I'm selfish? And so their internal world now, and every relationship, is anxiety, insecurity. Constantly wondering, what are people thinking about me? Will they reject me? Am I good enough? Am I acceptable? Are they pleased with me? Because their whole survival depends on being good enough to that person, and they have to earn that. They're not naturally, authentically that in their mind. And so they are full of anxiety. That is so important to understand, but it operates at a subconscious level. And why it is able to do that is because when they are fawning, they're so focused on everybody else and getting the validation that they become oblivious to their internal world. It masks their anxiety. It takes those feelings away for a little while. And so they go, I don't have anxiety. I'm totally happy. I'm totally fulfilled. No, you're not. You've just masked it by constantly being busy taking care of others. But if you were to stop and be all alone in a room with nothing to do for an extended period of time and have to get in touch with your internal world, you would realize that you are full of anxiety. So let me put this another way. What this then means for fawners is that they have to overfunction to be good enough. They have to overcommit to be good enough. So if you take that farther, what that then means is if there's a need, so somebody comes and there's a need, we have a need for this, or I'm hurting, all of a sudden they're panicking, because if I don't meet that need, then they're going to look down on me. But nobody else is jumping to meet that need. So in that moment of silence, my anxiety is building. Is anybody going to meet that need? Are they all looking at me? Are they all expecting me to meet the need? Are they thinking I'm selfish? I better meet that need. So now I overcommit. I don't have more time in my schedule to meet that need, but I got to meet that need to be good enough. And so overcommit, overfunction, because I got to solve the building anxiety whenever there's a need and it's not met. So that's one way to become aware that there's anxiety driving this ship, but it's also to be aware that you're constantly over functioning, over committing as a way to solve that anxiety. So take that farther. When you live with this anxiety, now you can't express your opinion about stuff because people might think you're too much. People might disagree with you. You can't assert yourself because people might get upset with you. You can't ask for help because they might see you as a burden, as an annoyance. You can't put yourself out there because people might not like it. You can't perform a service for people and then ask for money because they might get upset. So you got anxiety all the time whenever it comes to expressing yourself authentically. Your needs creates anxiety. So as long as you're taking care of everybody else's needs, then that masks your anxiety. But as soon as it comes to looking at your own needs and your own feelings and opinions, that creates anxiety. But the anxiety does something else. So now every time I go into a relationship, it's like I have to have a scorecard. Okay, I did this for them. Whew, I'm one up on them. They did 2 things for me. They're now above me. I now owe them. What are they thinking? Are they looking down on me? And so every time I'm in a relationship, if I sense that you're given more than I've given, I have anxiety. So now I must have a scorecard all the time so that I can keep my anxiety in check. That goes farther for some, and that goes, I better do it perfectly. Because if I don't do it perfectly, you might not be happy with how I performed it. So now I don't have to just function or overfunction. I got to do it perfectly or else you're going to be upset with me. And so it's important to realize is that perfectionism for many people is just anxiety dressed up as discipline. It's really masking anxiety. So what I want you to see is the bottom line is that fawning is a fear response. So even though the fawner may appear calm and happy, deep down, they are driven by a fear, an insecurity that they don't perform well enough, that they're not enough, and therefore they will be rejected. And so that leads to an ongoing simmering anxiety in all their relationships. That is fawning. Number 8, hypervigilance. So for this child who's neglected and abused to survive, they had to anticipate, to know the other person's needs, anticipate the other person's needs, the other person's desires, the other person's dreams, the other person's thoughts, emotions. They didn't just know them and merge with them. They had to anticipate them. So they had to develop this amazing radar system that was able to detect every slight little change from what they put together in their mind as this is the ideal state of dad when he's normal and happy. This is the ideal state of mom when she's normal and happy. So now when dad gets home from work, they can tell by the way the car comes up the driveway, the speed at which it comes up, the speed at which he stops, how he opens the door and closes the car door, how he opens the house door and closes the house door, how he puts his keys on the counter, how fast he walks, how hard his footsteps are. All of those tell them dad's emotional state. That's hypervigilance. But that's what they need to do to survive. Then when mom is going out socially, they can go, does she put on makeup or not? What's her mood? Does she dress? How does she dress? Does she dress really well? Every single thing tells them something. It tells them whether mom's going to go out and get drunk, whether mom's going to go out and be responsible, whether mom's in a good headspace, whether mom's in a bad headspace. And that tells them whether they're going to have a good night or bad night. That's their radar system. And then they've learned to detect the slightest tension between mom and dad, the slightest tightness and change in voice, in body language, in humor, in lightness, in joking, all of that. Radar, hypervigilance. It gives them a state of dad, state of mom, a state of mom and dad's relationship. All those are necessary for survival. And now they bring that to adult life. And anybody in a position of authority, they now detect everything about them. They begin to learn their moods, their habits, when they're in a good headspace, when they're in a bad headspace, the indicators of things that are negative. And they learn to take care of that because that is necessary for survival. And so if somebody appears to be sad or going into the negative, they fly into action to fix them, to take care of them. So if their drink is empty, I'm going to fill your drink. If you're a little sad, I'm going to say flattering things to you. I'm going to cheer you up. I cannot relax unless everybody significant in my life is happy. That is the hypervigilance. The final one, caretaking of others at the expense of self. Again, I need to explain that caretaking is different from caregiving. So caregiving is I'm in a relationship with a person. I have needs, they have needs. If they have needs that they're not able to meet, then caregiving is, okay, I'll meet those needs. But if you have needs that you are responsible to meet, I'm not going to meet them for you. I'll teach you tools, but you're going to meet your needs. So to a child, when you're little, I'm going to feed you because you can't feed yourself. But when you get old enough to feed yourself, caregiving means I'll teach you to feed yourself, and then I'll make you responsible to feed yourself so that you grow up. I will not continue to feed you with a spoon just because you have a temper tantrum and don't want to feed yourself. That would be where I meet needs for you that you should be meeting for yourself and that prevent you from growing up. So fawning is caretaking. I will take care of your needs when you should be taking care of your own needs. And I will take care of all of your needs and prevent you from growing up, but I will stop taking care of my needs. So the expense, I will take care of your needs at expense to myself. That was essential for survival for that child. That was their ticket to love, but they burn themselves out. They get full of resentment. They take care of everybody else, and their own needs get denied. So the bottom line is fawning, your needs are always a lower priority than everybody else's needs. And it's basically what self-abandonment is all about. You just keep denying your own needs, but then it starts a cycle. Because as you deny your own needs and you deny yourself, you then lose touch with your needs. You're not even aware of your needs. But then you take that farther, and now you consider yourself selfish for having need. And that leads to more and more self-abandonment. And sadly, many fawners get trapped in systems that tell them that that's what love is. So a family system or a religious system that says self-sacrifice, neglecting your needs, putting others ahead of you, that's the definition of love. And you get validated for it. You get indoctrinated that way. You get told God is happy with you. And so you are made to feel that that's the right way to live. That's not just the ticket to love. That's the ticket to happiness. That's the ticket to God's approval. And you give yourself to that, but you burn yourself out, you abandon yourself, and you eventually, your needs aren't met at all. So let me just say this again. I don't think you can truly love others unless you love yourself in a healthy way. And I'm not talking about self-indulgent pampering of yourself constantly at the neglect of others. That's not healthy self-love. Healthy self-love is learning to meet your 12 needs in a healthy way so that your cup is full. And you can only pour water from a full cup. You can't pour water from an empty cup. So if you're always taking care of others and your cup is empty, eventually you're going to burn out or you're going to not be able to care for others. True loving of others is only possible when you first learn how to love yourself in a healthy way. But fawners aren't taught that. And so a huge part of healing is learning to meet your 12 needs, learning that your needs matter just as much as everybody else's. They're not a lower priority. They are just as important. So let me add just this very interesting thing. If you look at a fawner, their needs don't matter, but everybody else's needs do matter. So now, if somebody else has a need, that creates a crisis, an emergency, not just for that person, but for them. So now it's a national crisis. Oh, that person's in need. That person needs something. Oh, okay, now I'm in crisis mode. I am in emergency mode. I am dysregulated. I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off to try to take care of that person's need. So everybody else's needs become my personal emergency. And now I get totally dysregulated. I make demands of everybody. I make sacrifice after sacrifice. I act like the world is ending because that person has a need. So to say some hard stuff, many people who are fawners, they still want to spin it in their own mind that this is a good thing, that they're kind, giving, loving people, that they're just loving, caring for people. They don't want to see their fawning accurate. They don't want to see that they're abandoning themselves, that they're not loving themselves, that they're not capable of continuing this forever. They don't want to see the damage that they're doing in their relationships. They don't want to see the fact that every time somebody has a need, they jump in to try to fix it, that they're starting to turn people off, that people are starting to resent them, that whenever person has a need, they jump in with advice, that people are starting to tune them out. They don't want to see that. They just want to see that they're just wanting to help. And they don't want to see that by them caretaking everybody, taking care of all their needs, that they're preventing those people from growing up. They're enabling them to stay irresponsible. They don't want to see that they're actually hurting the people. And so a sad reality is that fawning appears so helpful, but it is very hurtful. It's not easy to hear those words, but that's what I want you to be able to step away and look honestly at your fawning and realize, wow, this is not the great, wonderful solution that's blessing me and everybody. No, it is doing damage to you and to the very people that you're thinking that you're helping. That's the end of our talk. I just wanted to say that we've discovered that about half of the people that watch this haven't subscribed to our channel. And we would just love if you would take the time to subscribe, to like, to share this with others. That just helps with the algorithms of YouTube that then make this available to more people. So thank you again for your time. Have a great day.